good. That's all good. So let's dive in.
Well, the first thing we're going to talk about tonight is the guerrillas strategy number 1. And you can go ahead. We have that slide right there, Paul. You can go ahead and go to slide 2. All right. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the guerrillas tribe success strategy. And what that has to do with is we want to avoid buying Amazon mega bucks lottery tickets. I'm going to outline in detail our 3 product picking strategies. Now, this is a proven strategy most of us are launching product with right now. So the second thing we're going to talk about is the strategy that teaches you to learn to test, review, and scale your product. Amazon's not a place for inventors. And we're going to also share you with how to avoid the best burger in the world problem. Now, this proven strategy has been refined over quite a bit of time and has helped create reliable sources of income for, I know, hundreds of people in the tribe and across the internet from our YouTube channel. So the second one is the Guerrillas Tribe strategy, and it's the super product selector scorecard we're going to share with you today. We're going to share a step-by-step how to use this tool to solve the biggest problem people face today, how to evaluate what a good product is. Now, the IVT was created by the Guerrillas Tribe of members so that we could compare products with each other, so we could find out what attributes matter. And this document is what helps us do that. All right, so our goal in this webinar today is to take out the fear of picking a product. And we want to decrease your risk of losing money. We want to end your information overload and give you the confidence you need so that you can finally pick a product. You know, we're going to reduce your risks, increase your odds of success and winning exponentially. Hey, is anybody interested to hear the Guerrillas Tribe secrets? Yes. Yes, Bill, yes. Someone says, I'm scared to pick a bad product. Michelle says she's super confused. Well, a lot of people feel just the way you do, and that's why we're putting this webinar together. Now, I've got something for you. If you'll stick around to the end of the webinar, we're going to give you your own copy of, what are we going to give them their own copy of, Paul?
It's the Guerrillas Initial Viability Scorecard. Now, the IVT is what we call it, the IVT. The scorecard is potential products based upon 15 key attributes of product champions. Now, it's our super product selector, that's what we like to call it. And what we've done is we've made this a simple score that will help you quickly decide if products deserve more investigation. This will save you tons of time and create the confidence you need to pick a product.
So I want to explain to you here first exactly who the Amazon Guerrillas are. The Guerrillas are a group of Amazon business owners, and we meet weekly for educational workshops and information sharing. We try to trade knowledge and support and resources, like things like trusted shipping companies and photographers and quality inspectors. And I've had tribe members take products while I was out of the country at their house and re-sticker them for me. So we just really all try to help each other. And over the last almost 2 years now, Paul, the Guerrillas have gained a huge following of more than 15,000 Facebook friends and followers now, Paul. I bet you weren't even aware how much that's grown in the last just little bit even. And we have over 3,000 YouTube subscribers, and our YouTube subscribers have watched, now listen to this, Paul, more than 5 million minutes of these webinars and free training we've been doing.
How huge is that?
That's amazing. Like every time I tell someone, I'm like, listen to this. Like people actually sat and listened to us talk in front of a computer and share these great strategies. So we must be giving people information that they're using.
Now, Rob and I have successfully launched more than a dozen products, grossing over hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales. But what we're most proud of is that the Guerrillas Bootcamps have helped hundreds of other Amazon business owners successfully find, launch Amazon private label products. So, which is absolutely awesome. Now, I just want to cover, right, bearing in mind what we just stated there, what this is not, okay? This is not a get-rich-quick plan. This is not the magic bullet answer. And this is not a guarantee to make you millions of dollars. and it's certainly not a substitute for hard work and tenacity. So Rob's going to walk you through the system that the guerrillas are using to get great results. But please understand that these results are not typical. We need to say this because it's true fact. Because the average person who attends any training gets 0 results. Most people don't even take action, and they fall right back into the information overload, into the next webinar, into even getting more confused. So if you want to get off this information overload train, listen and take action. All right, that is my plea to you. Listen and take action. So, okay, Rob, if you're ready to share some awesome information, let's hear about these 3 secret strategies of the Guerrillas tribe. So I'll pass it over to you again.
All right, buddy. Well, I mean, that's a good description of how we got here. And I hope that this background's giving you some information and gives you a reason why we're actually winning right now and the members are winning. So let's go ahead and dive in. So the 3 secrets of the Guerrillas Tribe's Amazon FBA strategy. Now, this is going to increase your odds of success substantially. And this is the strategy that we're using right now that's helping tribe members be successful. And we've actually launched, I think we've had 5 or 6 launches in the last 60 days. And they've all been super successful. So the strategy is working right now. So the Guerrillas Tribe strategy number 1. So what we want to do is we want to hope that you're going to avoid buying Amazon Mega Bucks lottery tickets. And what that is that's when you try to pick a product that if you're successful, you have to be extremely successful. So that means the odds of you winning are super low, but you're banking on the fact that you're going to be so awesome that you with no experience are going to show up with very little money likely. You're competing with people doing $100,000 a month who are buying tons of pay-per-click, and you think that you are the lottery ticket winner, that you can compete with people who are selling $150,000 a month of iPhone case covers or measuring spoons. That was what Paul was in at one point. And we got him out. But anyway, so Paul tried to buy himself an Amazon Mega Bucks lottery ticket. And if you start there, now you've got a 5% chance of making it, or maybe even less than a 1% chance of making it. And here you are, and that's what you're starting out with. So what are your chances of competing with these top sellers with thousands of reviews? You've got better odds at winning the lottery. So start there. Let's not try to pick products that are super competitive. So the next thing, Paul, and I love this is my favorite slide. I love this picture. That's the kind of fish that I catch. So that's not a big fish story. We want to use the big fish strategy, the approach. And what that means is we don't want to swim with sharks. We know that you should not pick products where you have to be in the 10% to be successful. And that's what I'm talking about. If you have to be super successful to win, we want you to stay away from that. We want you to diversify your risks and then penetrate these soft niche markets by selling multiple products with lower sales volume and lower amounts of competitors. So we want you to sell products with less than 150 competitors. We want you to start small and build a reliable long-term income. We want you to be the big fish in the small pond. So I imagine you can kind of understand that, because we're not trying to teach you how to be millionaires. We're trying to teach you how to pay your rent, to pay your car payment. And you can start by doing that by making $500 a month. You can start by doing that by getting a product that does $1,000 a month in sales, makes you $300, and that's where you start. And we build that business by having multiple products doing those sales, thereby spreading your risk out. So we don't want you to be a goldfish that swims with sharks. Definitely don't want to be that. We want to be the big fish in the small pond. We want to take on these areas where there's a super niche and there may not be super successful sellers in there. The top guy may only have 100 reviews, 150 reviews. And then, by the time you get on the second page, people have 10 or 15 reviews. And so you don't need these big review groups and giving away tons of product. You can rank there by having a great strategy instead of having to do all of this kind of manipulation of the market. So we want you to make reliable and consistent income. and ultimately that you can pay your bills with. All right. So success strategy number 2. Again, this comes down to increasing your odds of success by avoiding products with what I say are predictable possible outcomes. That means, so things like electronics and powered products. So if you're getting yourself into electronics products or powered products, we can see into the future a little bit, and that there's a possibility that you may end up with products that aren't working properly. They may show up from China and the switch doesn't work or whatever it is. Now, that's not to say that later on you can't sell these things, but up front, we're trying to do as many things as we possibly can to avoid, errors that we can point out before they come. So we know that. So we know if people have complex products with multiple pieces, a piece can get lost in the mail. It shows up, it doesn't have all the pieces. Grandma gets her new complex thing and she can't work it, can't figure it out. So then you get returns and you get bad reviews. We want to deal with liquids or chemicals, because those things can break and leak. And chemicals can get of almost any kind. Amazon can just pull them out and say, hey, we need to do a hazard check on them, which may put you around 6 months, or you may never get it on. Paul and I have experienced that. You definitely don't want to be with branded products or patented products. And I mean no branded products. There's not one piece of real deal branded products on Alibaba or anywhere in China. Only the manufacturers can have their branded products. And we don't want things that are breakable. Glass, obviously glass can break easily. So we don't want your products to be easily breakable. And then the last one, which, I'm not saying you can't get into this later on, but don't do stuff that can go on or in a human. And you may even want to include a dog in there, because people get pretty possessive about that dog. If your supplement hurts their dog, they may not be very happy at all, Paul.
True. All the hair falls out.
So you see, that's why we want to keep that strategy where we avoid these things that we can kind of foresee in the future, meaning we know that electronics might not work. So the first couple of products we're trying to launch without as little problems as we can, because we're new at this, and we're probably not have tons of funding, not lots of money, not unlimited amounts of money. So we're trying to keep as little risk as we can and grow that business. So let's go to success strategy number 3, Paul.
Here we go.
All right. So Amazon's not a place for inventors. Okay. If no one's searching for your product, you can't sell it. You got to pick a product that has multiple variations. So meaning if no one's putting your search term into the bar and looking for your product, you can't sell it. People can't discover you. They discover you by putting in the word lawnmower or hair dryer or garlic press or whatever it might be. That's how they find you. So unless you have some variation of that, it would be very difficult to sell. And that's definitely not where you want to start. So you don't want to be too innovative. You want to get in the pack, find something that other people are selling that you can make improvements on. You can change a little bit, come up with a little bit of a variation. And it maybe improve on the product based upon what people's reviews are. And we may talk about that here in a little bit. So we want you to read the reviews, and solve problems that you see in there and figure out if you can solve them. Maybe make an improvement. If something has multiple products and one of them wears out or people lose them, you might want to include an extra thing. You just want to find something that makes you unique. You may want to add a small little product that adds value to your product instead of, this is the only way people do it. Maybe you want to do multiples and keep the price down low. But you want to definitely add value or add a feature. And you also want to think about whether you want to be budget listing or luxury listing. Now, I don't believe you should be too much in the middle of the pack, certainly starting out. Now, maybe later on you can get back in the middle of the pack, but when you're looking, Amazon is driven by price. So up front, we need to be very price conscious, and we want to be, and in my opinion, now this is the strategy that we're using. We know that Amazon is driven by price, and price in usually a lower market. That's how we sold out of Paul spoons. That's how I sold people out of barbecue gloves. They have these huge competitive things, and we break it down, and we might lose a little bit of money when we try to liquidate them or just get it at cost. And that's how we're able to do that. So we know that price is very important. Now, we don't want you to be too innovative or try to change the market. If they're not searching for it, again, you can't sell it. We want you to sell what sells. Don't reinvent the wheel. Improve the wheel. Get a wheel, put some new paint on it, improve what's going on, put a bike guard on or whatever it might be. But, make the wheel a little bit better. We want you to use competitive pricing. We don't want it to be, or we want to be luxury so you can stand out. I mean, if you want to go luxury, we just did a product in November and we were way above the market, but we discovered that people were willing to spend money in that market. So we launched a product that was $20 more than everybody else, and we sold out of it over the Christmas. Now, that wasn't a good thing, but we did well with it. You want to pick a product that has variations in it. So when you look down the page, it's not just the same product over and over and over again with, a different color on it, and one's chrome, one's gold. It needs to be some variations. There need to be some changes in it. It needs to work differently. It needs to maybe have a different approach. So you want to find a group of products that have some variation in it so you can come up with something that matches that process, that people can choose from different items and choose from things that are differentiated from everything else. And again, we talked about it. We want you to read the reviews. We want you to get in there and solve problems. All right, here we go to success strategy number 2. I love this picture, Paul.
Yeah, that's my type of burger.
Right? It makes you hungry right now. So I talk about this all the time. It's one of my favorite analogies. We don't want to have the best burger in the world problem. You got to let the world know that you got the best burger in the world. That's super, super important. Okay. So we'll get into that. So we're going to talk about the first part of this strategy is that what we want to do is we want to make sure people know about our burger. And one of the things that happens, and I was in the restaurant business for a long time, and I would show up to a restaurant and I would go in and I'd say, what was the problem? And then they would tell me these big stories about how they had the best meat that was massaged with milk for 6 months. And the chef comes from Mars. He's the greatest guy in the world. And I'd ask him, well, why aren't you selling them? Well, the problem is nobody knows about it. So we're going to talk about why you want to not be the best burger in the world. You want to have a great product, but you're always going to have to be marketing. And that's what avoiding the best burger in the world problem is. So success strategy. We want you to create social proof by getting a professional optimized listings. So it starts out with your pictures. Your pictures have to be super good. Most important thing in your listing is to have super good pictures. Like you say in that picture right there, as those guys looking, a picture's worth 1,000 words. So you've got to be, your picture's got to stand out. It's the first thing that people look at. We're very visual. When you see pictures on Facebook or whatever that grab your attention. So your big picture has to be super important. And that's what's going to attract people. Okay. We want to have amazing titles with great headlines. We need to have the lead in the story. Don't bury what your product is in the middle. If you're trying what your keyword is that you're trying to be ranked for, it needs to be right up front. So when people put that search term in there, their brains automatically go down and say, oh, there's what I'm looking for because it's there listed. There's the word. My brain goes, oh, that's the answer. And that's what we want to bring people to. So that's why great pictures and great titles are very, very important, and it can help you be successful almost beyond a lot of other things. It's very important. Now, the other thing is we want to make sure bullet points are benefits and not features. And the point is that people don't buy features. They buy benefits. How does this thing do something for me? And so if you can get them in that picture of them using it, because it saves them time, because it makes things more efficient, because it's comfortable, whatever it might be, you want to make sure you're always selling. You want to make sure you're always selling benefits and not features. And bullet points need to be bullet points. Bullet points are one line. There should be a space between the next one and then another bullet point. If you start doing big blocks of text, I see it all the time, these big blocks of text, like they think that they're going to get people to read a big block of text. They're not reading. I promise you, they are not reading, especially if your product's under $50. If your product's under $50, time on page is between 3 and 5 seconds before someone makes a decision about your product. So you go ahead and start your listing, and I don't care, count to 7 and see how far you can get. When your person looks at that picture, they look at your bullet point and they go down there and it's a big block of text and it's that little tiny micro text. People just steer away from it and your conversions will go down. So keep those bullet points, bullet points. Now, we want you to tell a story throughout your listing, the build you're doing. And that you're going to have to come up with what's the story of your product. And I don't mean actually telling a story, but you can put 3 or 4 sentences that weave it all the way through down to your description where you're going to really tell your story about your product. And the other thing, here's just a neat side tip that I always tell people, the question and answer area is your real estate, meaning you need to make sure that people are asking you questions and you're answering them. So you need to encourage people. And matter of fact, people who don't even, they just have to have an Amazon account. They don't have to buy your product. So if you can get some questions in there from some people looking at your products and you can answer them, that's space that you can get into before they even read reviews. So make sure you use that real estate. Just one of my little tips I try to make sure people do. Now, you want to work hard for reviews. You want to be innovative. You want to use autoresponders. We know there's been this big problem since last October with reviews, and you can't be giving them away. Now, I think that's good because that means the big guys can't go out and give away 1,000 of them, 50 a day for 4 weeks, and then rank because they've given away all this product. Well, they can't do that anymore. So it's leveled the field. And then people used to have 3,000 reviews. Now they got 200. So things change. And because they've changed, that's why I want to get in these small niches. Now, there are some services out there where they're not actually, at this point, they're not requiring people to give reviews. So they're able to do promotional items. So they're able to do stuff at a discount or whatever, and then they give them out, and you still get a much larger proportion of reviews. It's very hard to get reviews. I mean, the review rate, especially on products under $25, $50 in that area, you're getting 3 to 4% return on it. But you also want to make sure that you're giving great customer service and you solve problems quickly, and you use some type of autoresponder in there, and that's going to help you push your reviews through. Now, one of the things about reviews that I've and this is just my own thoughts on this, but I feel like, just from some of the things I've read and some marketing information that I've read in an article about, I don't know, it was about 4 months ago. And so what happens is that when people are looking for answers, what happens is they go in there, and when they don't see the answer to the question they want, then they just go away. And so what we've got to do is give them the answers to the problems that they have. And so that gets you to where you're listing and your, what you should do to make sure that, and that's all part of your sales. That's part of being a sales and marketing all the time, is make sure that listing is as good as you possibly can get it. All right. So success strategy number 2, and that comes back to the always be marketing. Don't have the best burger in the world problem. It means you got the best burger in the world, but no one's coming to eat it. It comes from cows on Mars, and, your chef was on TV 40 times, and he's the best, but it doesn't matter. If no one knows you got the best burger in the world, then no one's going to find it. So you always got to be committed to having a marketing plan for the entire lifespan of your product. Now, I don't believe you should be spending paid money outside of Amazon. Meaning, I think you should be using Amazon pay-per-click until you just wear it out, until you can't spend any more money. Now, because we're in these small niches, it's going to be a lot less money to be marketing in a smaller niche, because the cost per pay-per-click is going to be much less. So we want to take, if you got a budget of, let's say, $2,000, and I don't recommend that you spend more than $3,000 usually on a product. I mean, matter of fact, a lot of times I'll launch and do a test product, and we're going to talk about that in a minute, for $1,500. And then, but what I want you to do is I want you to save between 30 and 40% of your entire budget that you're going to start this with on an 8-week marketing plan. Now, as you start sourcing your product, and once you pick it, I want to have you start working on some social media stuff with Facebook. Now, I'm not talking about buying ads. I'm talking about building some groups that are interested in your product. And there's a lot of strategies for that. But basically, you want to build some groups and get some people that you can get on a list before you launch this product, so you can send out and get those reviews to. Now, let's assume you're doing hair dryers. Maybe you put out some coupons to give away some free hair dryers. So you just get people to sign up, so you have that thing going a little bit for you. And you want to just try to create this little bit of a list that you can kind of get that first initial amount of reviews, that you'll send them a discount coupon or whatever it might be. And you can't require them to give reviews, but if these are people that have given you their email, it's a whole lot easier to get it. So I'm not saying you have to learn how to do Google AdWords or anything like that. I don't want you to do that. Just figure out how you can get some people in a group, the people that love hair, and maybe you give hair dryers in there. So you have to be a little bit creative with this, but you should get up every morning. You should be trying to figure out how I can get people to buy my product. You should be going into groups on Facebook and asking the group leaders if you can put out a coupon in there when you're launching. I mean, you need to get up and work at this for the first 6 to 8 weeks, you got to get up and try to sell this product. So we want you to build a story about each of your products. We want you to be a huge keyword miner. You got to pick products with multiple keywords. You can't get into products I'm actually just talking to somebody before we got on the webinar tonight, and they had 3 keywords and that's all they had. And I'm like, you got to have some more keywords here that matter, that are significant to. They can't all be, or you can't have 3 small keywords in a big, huge category. Meaning, you can't have coffee makers and you want to do French press coffee makers, but you want to do black coffee makers. It's just not enough of distinguishment. So you got to be in an area where you can get some keywords that are exclusive to your product so that you can buy multiple words, and there's multiple ways to get to your product. So you need to be a huge keyword miner. And you want to find, we talked about this, we want to find ways to get some free traffic driven to your listings. And that's where, your Facebook stuff, your Instagram, don't feel afraid to put your product out there and ask people to buy it. You should be proud. Hey, I started my own business. Hey, would you guys look at my product? And if you like it, would you review it? You've got to be consistently trying to market. And I'm not saying you have to do that all the time. I'm saying get yourself 6 to 8 weeks of just putting in the time and really focusing on marketing your product. Now, I want you to spend as much time as you can possibly doing anything else to learn how to be an expert at pay-per-click marketing. So function and get in there and learn how to do it. Watch videos. I always recommend, one of the greatest guys out there is a guy named Brian Johnson. He's got a product called PPC Scope. I don't get anything from doing that. I'm just telling you that it works. He's got some great videos out there. If you look on our channel, he's got some great videos about pay-per-click. He's got a Facebook group that does that, and get involved in those things and learn how to be a pay-per-click person. And I'm going to explain why that's so important. Now, you need to be doing some specials, and that's the kind of stuff. So you may put your product on sale for a weekend to try to promote. So you're always trying to lead in. Now, here's one of these things that I tell people is that what you want to do is you want to run your promotions and specials on Wednesdays and Thursdays so that you're gaining momentum going into the weekend where the most sales are. So Amazon, I feel like, gives you some reward. If you start running on Wednesday and you start seeing some sales, well, maybe you get a little bit of a bonus bump over the weekend because you were a leader going in there. And that's just, these are these little things that I feel like I see happen. And I see them happen enough that I wouldn't be telling them if I didn't. So you want to do on-site and off-site promotions monthly. So you always want to be doing this. Don't 6 months down the road when you're selling, just forget it, because guess what? That guy on the front page, I got a buddy on the front page and he spends $500 a day, every day on pay-per-click. So those people up there in those super competitive environments are spending a lot of money. Now imagine if you're in a much less competitive niche market, you can get in there. And if you do these kind of things, that's what overwhelms people, because you're an A player against people that are C's, D's, and F's. And since there's such few of them, that you can rank very quickly. The last 4 products, like I said, maybe 5 products that we've launched with Guerrillas Tribe members, they were very quickly able to rank second page, first page. It's almost kind of amazing that it happens that quick, but it's because they're small niches, less than 150 competitors. Super important. All right, success strategy number 3, Paul.
Here we go.
All right, I think this one's really, really important. If you listen to this part of the strategy, this is going to reduce your risk so much. And a lot of people are making this big mistake by not following this strategy. So we want you to test, we want you to evaluate, and we want you to improve or cut and run, okay? So we suggest that you start out first and you order yourself a minimum order of 100 to 200 units. Now, you may pay more, you may not have the margin you ultimately want, that's fine. But get yourself 100 to 200 in there. Now, you may not find a product and they may not be able to give it to you in 100 quantity. Well, that doesn't mean you should go order 1,000. Like, why are you ordering 1,000 of a product you have no idea it's going to be successful? You've never been in this business, you've not done it, and now you think, I can sell 1,000 of these. So get yourself into 100 to 200 units. Keep your price down. Get them in there, and you may have to buy it at a trading company or wholesaler maybe. But you need to get your product starting out in a low quantity so that you can test whether or not the product's viable live. So we want you to launch and test the validity to your product for 45 days, maybe 60. So what's going to happen is you're going to get your product in there. You're going to do all these things. You're going to launch. You're going to promote. You're going to do pay-per-click. And you're going to try to compete by pay-per-click. So let's think about that. So people are now, how do I get on the front page? Well, how you get on the front page is you launch a product and you buy the ads and you buy the space with pay-per-click on the front page next to the guy that's got 3,000 reviews. So what you're going to do is you're going to get a product. Hopefully your listing is going to be great. And you're going to go compete against the first guy. You're going to compete with that front page because guess what you're going to do? You're going to get on the front page. You're then going to go compete with people on the second and third page. You're going to find out what your product does. So, I mean, it's a very simple process. Sometimes it's so complex. I don't know why people make it so complex. You got a small amount of products. You get in there and you compete on pay-per-click. You get up there right at the front. You're right next to the guy who's going to be your competitor. You're with the people on the second page who are your competitors. There's your product. Like, I mean, there's no magic difference between that product now and a product that you rank 6 months or 5 weeks or 10 minutes from then. If it's ranked organically, it's not going to sell. If it doesn't sell because it's up there, it's not going to sell. So then while you're doing that, I want you to be split testing your listings. I want you to try different titles and prices and pictures and see what converts better. Now, there's some great software out there that people are using for that. And I think one of them is called Splitly. Go ahead and take a look at that, because now your small amount of product, you're getting your pay-per-click, you're testing your product, you're then testing what sells to make sure your listing's refined. So then what happens is, you go through that 45 to 60 days, you make some refinements, you make changes, you get feedback, and then you improve. If you can't sell the product, what we want you to do is we want you to reboot, liquidate, or if you're going to keep it, start on a 90-day super launch, which means you're going to increase your volume. You're going to buy more product because you're selling. And you may make those improvements. You put it back in there, and there you go. You've got a product that's doing well instead of risking all this money. So if you have to reboot, you put your product down at cost, maybe a little bit below, but you get back 60, 75% of your listing. Paul, I mean, when you got your spoons, I mean, we got back most of your money, didn't we?
Yeah, it was over 75% I got back. Which was good because then I could reinvest that capital into a totally different product.
Exactly. So, Guerrillas Tribe secret number 3, and this is truly, I think, one of the secrets that the tribe members use together, and we call it our secret tool. It's the Super Product Selector Scorecard, and it's created by the Guerrillas Tribe members. Because one of the biggest problems we had, and everybody has, is the people face is finding out how to find a product. But then the problem is you get all this information, you buy these pieces of software, you look for all this stuff, and you're trying to evaluate the information you've gathered. You've got all this research, but what do you do with it then? I mean, a bunch of data that has all these different things. If you don't have the information or what to do with it, then what happens? You don't have the information. How are you gonna evaluate it? So what this tool does is it helps you evaluate that product. Now we're gonna give this product to you, and you're gonna actually be able to take this product home with you.
All right. So basically, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to run through each of the attributes in turn. So let me just sort of jump over to that. I'm not going to go into too much detail because there's a lot of information here. But if you listen to this, if you actually take action on this, it will reduce your risks dramatically. So let me walk through it, and hopefully you should sort of get a better idea at the end of it. Now, this is basically what it looks like. It's a simple scorecard. I'm not expecting you to read this. I've broken this down into individual slides. But I just wanted to give you the front page look of what the product looks like. So right, I'm going to dive straight in. And the way we do this is in the yellow here, we've got the questions. And on the score in the orange box is a drop down. So basically you can give it a 0 or a 10. And you can actually put the relevant information over on the right hand side as you're actually going through this in investigation. So let me give you some ideas of what the attributes are. So the first one is really about BSR. And the BSR is the bestseller rank. That's what sort of Amazon call it. That's where you're basically ranked within the system itself. Now we're looking for products between 10,000 and 50,000. So basically we're looking for the gold nuggets as opposed to the gold dust or the crumbs that are left over. Anything below 10,000 is going to be really competitive. Anything over 50,000, and there's not going to be enough sales volume now as a general rule. Okay, so that's attribute number one. Attribute number two, the pricing. Now, Rob's talked about pricing strategy. Now, when we're trying to find a particular product, we're really looking for products between $17 and $50. Now, the reason being there that anything below $17, by the time that you've taken all of your costs out of there, including the FBA fees, your shipping, the actual purchase of the product itself, there's not going to be a lot of profit made from a product that's selling below 17. Anything over 50, that could well be quite expensive to actually get your inventory to start with. Now, it depends on your budget, obviously, but as a general rule, that is the sort of the areas that we're looking at. The next one we're looking at is the number of reviews. When you're looking to try and find a product, you need to have a look at the number of reviews of the products. And we're saying that at least 3 products to have at least 100 reviews on the first page. Okay, and that is for the main keywords. So if it's hair dryers, you're looking for, or big hair dryers or powerful hair dryers, that is the keywords you should be looking for, and at least 3 products should have more than 100 reviews. That shows there is demand and people are actually buying it and the products are selling. All right, the next one is we're looking at less than or no more than 200 competitors. Ideally, Rob's already spoke to you about this, and the magic number is about 150. You don't want to go too low. You don't want to go into a niche that's only got 50 competitors, because there's not enough sort of sales or not enough interest in that particular niche. Anything over 2 competitors, over 200 competitors, you're starting to get more competition. It's a lot more difficult to actually gain momentum and actually get onto that page 2 or even page 1. It becomes a lot more difficult. So the next attribute that we're looking for is, so as at least 3 products have a main category rank, that's a BSR we're talking about here, of less than 10,000 for the keyword. Now, anything less than 10,000 is generally selling significant volume, which means there's an opportunity to make good volumes in sales there. So then it takes us on to weight. Now, weight is quite an important aspect here. Now, what we recommend is, to start with, let's look at weights at less than 2.5 pounds. Now, the reason being there is the heavier the product, the more it's going to cost you to actually ship that product from China, as well as it's going to cost you more in inventory from FBA point of view as well. They will charge you for overweight, oversized products. Now, the next one, we're talking about at least 5 products on the first page have less than 100 reviews. Now, this means there's an opportunity to overtake those sellers. It also identifies weaknesses and opportunities within the niche for that market, so allow you to actually bring your product, with all of the knowledge that you're bringing onto the listing, the differentiation you've made with your product, and actually push that forward and make that a lot easier to overtake those people as well. So the next attribute we're looking for is the 4 products on the front page add up their estimated revenue, and it should have no more than 50% of the total revenue. Now, it's difficult to do that just by looking at sort of an Amazon listing. So you do need some software out there, which luckily we're going to help you with at the end. But you could use something like Jungle Scout or ASIN Inspector, or if you've got a non-paid for application, is Unicorn Smasher. But you need to be looking at the first 4 top sellers, adding up their revenue, adding up the total of the first page, and the first 4 should not have more than 50% of the total revenue. The next attribute we're looking for is the total estimated revenue on the first page should be under $250 and this could vary a little bit depending on what niche you're looking at, but between sort of 250 and 300,000. And basically, again, what we're looking for is adding up the whole revenue on the first page. Okay, so anything over that just shows it as a really competitive market, and again, it's going to be really difficult for you to break into that. Which comes around to the next attribute, is the bottom end of that scale. So you don't really want to be having the first page with a total revenue of less than $25,000, simply because there's no money to be made on the first page. So if there's no money to be made on the first page, there's next to no money on the second page and virtually zero on the third page, if it goes back that far, that is. So you need to make sure that you're actually getting into a niche, that you've got enough sales volume there to make enough money into the market. Let's look at the next attribute here. So the total estimated revenue on page 2 should be no more than 50% of the total revenue on page 1. And again, that's easily done. Just add up the revenue on page 1, add up the revenue on page 2. Page 2 should be no more than 50%. If it is, again, that just shows you there's a really competitive market, and there's a lot of people selling an awful lot of stuff still on page 2. What does that mean? It means you're going to have a hard time to break into that position. And following on the same theme, the next attribute looks at page 3. Now, page 3, what we're looking for here is a nice even drop on revenue. Now, the revenue should be on page 3 no more than 15% of the total revenue on page 2. Now, again, this is really easily done. Simple calculator, piece of paper, or just take down the results from Jungle Scout, Ace and Inspector, or one of the other products, drop it into a spreadsheet and just do the numbers. And again, what we're looking for here is, like I said, as long as there's not a sudden drop off on those pages. Sometimes you'll see that as really good numbers on page 1. You go to page 2, there's nothing there. Or you go to page 1, page 2, it looks reasonable, nothing on page 3. So in other words, it drops straight off. Again, really difficult to force your way into sort of those positions where you need to begin to page 2 or page 1. So let's have a look at the size. Size does matter when it comes to Amazon. Now, size is big and is not always best when it comes to Amazon as well. Simply because the larger the size, they will charge additional fees for handling, storage, picking, and shipping. So what we're saying here is, to start with, let's make your product not oversized. Let's go with a standard size. And what we're saying is, if it can fit inside a shoebox, as a rough estimate, that's good. Okay. Now, ideally, you don't want to pick a product that's larger than 8 inches by 8 inches by 10 inches. Okay. Because if you do, your shipping fees will just go up, your handling fees will go up, and your FBA fees will go up.
And that's actually 18, Paul. I don't know why that's a typo, actually.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, I've got it as 18 at the top here. Sorry, it's sort of eight down here. But that is the actual sizes that sort of Amazon will actually start to look at your product as being an oversized product. But to start with, like I said, let's try and get that into the shoebox size type product. So let's have a look at the ad space. Now, Rob's talked about the ad space quite a bit here, or pay-per-click. Okay, or PPC, that's what we're talking about. Now, on the page layout, you'll have a number of different places where you can actually see paid for advertising for different products. Now, generally, you'll have 4 places over on the right-hand side, and depending on what sort of Amazon have actually decided to do on their split testing, because they do a lot of split testing on their the way they present the results, is sometimes you'll have advertisements at the top, so the first 2 spots will be paid for ads. Sometimes that'll be the first one, then you'll have 1 in the middle, 1 at the bottom, 2 at the bottom, 1 over there. Like I said, they are split testing, but the key thing is that you need to make sure that the ad space is full of similar type of products that you are selling. Why? Because it shows that people are actually willing to spend money to place their products in those positions, and it's working for them. Okay, if it wasn't working for them, they wouldn't pay for the ads. and you wouldn't see the similar type of product in that position. Now that just means that it's a niche that is profitable. Otherwise, people wouldn't be paying for the advertising. Okay, so that's a good thing. That's what you need to be looking out for. Now, Rob spoke about this earlier. Products not to get into. Okay, do not pick products that are liquid, gas, easily broken, hazardous, ingested by humans, complex to use, or too many parts. All right, that's just, yeah, straight out the gate is just make yourself an easy life. Okay, don't fall into the habit of going down to the, oh, this is a nice little product. If I assemble that and put that together and it comes in 3 boxes, what a brilliant product. Well, the chances are that you're going to have some parts missing at some point, or it doesn't fit together properly, or your glass teapot is broken on the way because the DHL guy has just thrown it over the fence, not realizing it's hazardous, do not drop means hazardous, do not drop, because he's in a hurry. All right, so do yourself a favor, stay away from these type of products to start with, especially electronics products. Now, a lot of people are drawn to electronics products because they're sexy products. Don't, because again, there's a high chance and a high probability that something could go wrong. If it could go wrong, it will go wrong. If it goes wrong in your first product, you're going to get negative reviews, you're going to get 1-star reviews, and that's going to stress you out left, right, and center. Okay, so just stick with the easy, go down the easy road, the middle road, and there are ways of actually standing out in the crowd, which we've already spoken about. Okay, so that were they were the attributes that you need to be looking for. Now, when you're filling in the scorecard, like I said earlier, on the orange sections, you can actually have the drop-down menu so you can score that 0 to 10. At the end of it, you'll automatically get a score, a total score. Now, if your score is over 100, that means it's a potentially a viable product. Okay, now that means you should spend more time digging into part 2. Now, part 2 of this I'm not going to go into because that talks about, talking to trying to find vendors in China, speaking to vendors in China, getting quotations, getting lead times, and stuff like this. But the key thing here is to make sure that you've got a product that is viable. In other words, make sure you've got a product that you can actually spend more time on. Now, this is pretty much black and white. If your score is 90, for example, all right, it may be worth spending a little bit more time on, see if you can get some quotes, see what the MOQ is, minimum order quantity. If it's a 60 or a 70, just walk away. You're not going to spend any more time on it. In other words, it's saving you time, saving you effort, allowing you to move on to the next product, run through these attributes. If you've got a good score, spend more time on it. Okay, so that's basically what that is. So let me summarize that just quickly here. The attributes that are meaningful and there's some substance behind them. It gives you the ability to score each of those attributes. All right, so it accumulates into a viability score, like I just talked about. Now, phase 2 of this, and again, you will get this when you download it. Phase 2 allows you to drill into the supply chain and competitors' listings. Okay, and again, all of this information here on this particular tool, it gives you the ability to record the actual data so that you can come back and analyze that like for like. So if you're looking at 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 different products, you can record all of that data in one particular sitting and go back and compare each of those on a summary page. Right? Once you've done that, once you've been through these attributes, it will increase your odds when you're picking a viable product.
Well, let's do it. Let's get on to the next level. We're going to give you even more confidence than you have now. That's the idea, is to create this, get rid of this information overload and give you much more confidence. And that's the idea, because when you have confidence, you can make decisions and you can move forward, because a lot of people get stuck in this analysis by paralysis where they're just waiting. They don't know what to do because they're confused. Well, today you got information, and you're hearing information today that you can actually implement and get over all that scared to start your business. You can just go ahead and start a business and get the confidence you need to actually finally launch a product. All right. So let me share with you something that's probably important. Let me share you why most people fail. Okay, most people fail, and it's probably just the same way as I did. You probably felt exactly the same way I did when I started. I lacked confidence, and I was lost in what I call the Amazon sellers information jungle. You know, it was just full of too much information, and all these courses were out there promising untold riches, and I was going to be a millionaire if I just had to work 2 hours a week, and I was going to sell $1 million worth of Amazon spoons. I always like to jab Paul with the spoons, but
yeah, thanks.
Anyway, you've been to 100 webinars and they've told you all this information, and a lot of them are these very unspecific. Yeah, go out and find a product sells 10 a day, and that's your product you're going to compete with. You're competing with every single product in a market, not one product. But there's always been one big giant, right, Paul? It's big giant problems. The biggest problem everyone faces.
It's bigger than that.
Right. You get all this information. You get all this information. You got all this information laid out there. You go buy a course. You go get on YouTube. You listen to a webinar. And at the end of the day, guess what, Paul? You're left alone to figure it out on your own. And the problem is there's too much to learn and too many mistakes you can make. And if you use the wrong strategy, what's likely to happen, Paul?
You will fail. Absolutely, no doubt about it. So
I explained to you earlier who the Guerrillas Tribe are. We formed this group almost 2 years ago, and we've met almost every week for 2 years. 2 years now. And we didn't meet this week because of the Super Bowl, because we usually meet on Sundays. We've supported each other. We've shared knowledge and our best resources. That's right. I share, if I've got somebody, I've got a great inspector, I've got a great supplier, a freight forwarder, whatever it might be, a great packager. I had somebody wanting to know who my packaging company was today. And so I shared that with them, and tons of us have launched products and become successful sellers within the group. So about 3 or 4 times a year, we allow a few members to come join the tribe. Now, this is important, Paul, because we've had this problem in the past. So you got to have a couple qualifications. Now, they're not very hard to have. We only allow happy people. If you're not happy, you can't become a part of the tribe. You got to be excited, and you got to be motivated to do something. We won't. We only have people come in. We only invite people to come in who are ready to start their business and join the tribe. You don't have to have experience. We love to work. The members love to take in new members under their wing and help them do this. So there's no experience level required, which makes this a huge opportunity for new sellers. So how much confidence would you have if you could join the Guerrillas Tribe of Sellers? These are motivated people who are working in this business. There's coaches inside of there, and they meet weekly for interactive educational workshops and personal coaching with each other. And you could avoid the potholes, the potholes that are in your way that you can't see, because in the tribe, we're helping each other avoid those potholes. And you can ask questions every week. You can get the answers you need to move your business forward along the way. So, Paul, what do you got to say about it?
Well, you've already said that don't worry, right? But the main reason is you don't have to do this alone, right? That is really key. Like Rob said, we only invite 25 people into the group every now and again. And it is very rarely that we open up the doors throughout the year, just several times a year to join the 90-day boot camp. We provide our new members a step-by-step roadmap and combine that with a virtual classroom and personal coaching, which is huge. And if you really want to join the sort of the Guerrillas Tribe and gain the knowledge, the support, the resources you need to launch your product in 90 days, you're in the right place.
Exactly. Now, Paul, I'm sure you know this, and everybody knows this. This is just, we all know this because we've all experienced it. It's a proven fact that people who work in groups are more likely to complete their goals and be successful. It actually makes you 10 times more likely to be successful. And that's what the boot camp provides, and having the knowledge and resources that are available to be in a group of people who have done this. There are people in there who might only be 2 steps in front of you. Those people know exactly what you need to do because they just overcame it. There are people that it might be 3 months. It might be at a launch. There are people who've been there and launched 4 and 5 products. So you're going to get to interact with people who all the time are, growing and helping each other. And we want to build you a business that works from the ground up, that's long-term, reliable. It's not fly-by-night. You have multiple products and you're in small niches, all making small amounts of money. It's very hard then to come get all of your products or lose all your products through competition or a supplier not showing up or whatever. So you have a strategy that can be implemented, that you can build on. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme. This is, how do I pay my rent? How do I then make $5,000 over the next 2 years? How do I make $10,000? But you've got to grow the business from that point. So let me tell you what we do for when we add new members to the group. Okay. So here's what we do. So we have weekly training. So every week we get together and we train with each other. So we host these online classes. It's like a college course. I really feel that way. I feel like Paul and I are the professors a lot of time. So you get weekly instruction. With our sellers, we invite industry leaders to come in. We get other coaches to come in. And we want to help you get your product launched in 90 days. I imagine that's got to be worth at least a couple $1,000s to actually meet every week with people who know what they're doing and will sit down with you and let you ask questions. When you got a problem, you can ask that question in there. So then the other thing is that we're going to give you the jungle roadmap is what I call it. I don't like to say course stuff here because it's not a course so much as it is a resource library, a step-by-step informational videos and guides and tools that'll help you find and source your product and sell your product from start to finish. So you can watch these videos, get training where you need help along the way, and then you can bring those questions to the weekly meetups. And then during the week, we're going to show you here in just a second how you can get those questions answered almost at any time you need them done. So we're going to teach you how to get your product launched, and we're going to get you a training product. And once you get inside and we get you in there, we're going to show you how to get a training product on Amazon super quick. Okay. So sometimes we can get those up within 2 weeks. Now, this isn't the product you're ultimately going to sell, but it's going to get a training product so you can get your hands inside the engine and start working on your Amazon business. So the other thing is the biggest thing I think, which is you're going to get your questions answered. Our personal interactive educational coaching sessions allow everyone to ask questions. We'll sit there and hang out, and we've been on there for 3 hours answering questions and having great discussions, and we do that. Like I said, we've done almost 120 or 130 of them already. So we've been doing this consistently. So the information's there. You're going to get access to all of that information inside of the library of assets that we have. So you got to imagine, what could you do if you could get your question answered anytime you have a problem? You can get the answer you need to move forward instead of sitting around waiting, having to look online, having to do that. You're going to move through this process much quicker because you can go talk to somebody and ask a question. And how you're going to get these question answers, if you're not on a live call, you're going to email me, you're going to email Paul, you're going to email someone in the group, you're going to post in our elite mastermind group, which is a Facebook group, and we call it the base camp. I don't even know if I like the word mastermind. We need to change that maybe, but I mean, basically it's just where we all meet. It's kind of the hub where everyone goes in there. We're always posting articles and things like that I think, can help everybody. People are asking questions. And so if you need something answered quickly, you go in there and you go in this private secret Facebook group and you're able to, to access it. And I know people charging, hundreds of dollars a month to be in something like that. So that's got to be worth at least $1,000. And the other thing is the bottom line is you're going to gain the support and confidence to finally get what you need, which is to launch your products, source winning products, and get them on Amazon and get your business started. So, you can add that up any way you want. That's got to be $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 worth of value right there. The first bonus that we've worked out is that when we get you into the tribe, what we're going to do is we're going to get together. Usually sometimes it's 2, sometimes I do it one-on-one. It just depends on what people's schedule are. But what we do is we schedule a live small group personal business planning session with the tribe. So we're going to sit down and we're going to hop on a Skype call together, just like we're doing now. We're going to be live. You're going to get some advice. We're going to make a plan. You can ask questions, and we're actually going to look for a product with you during that time. So no more than 4 people in there. and people can ask, and you can just get your questions answered real, we're going to be real intensive, and we're actually going to look for a product and show you exactly what you do. So again, we're going to discuss your business, and then we're going to create an action plan, come up with an action plan, and move you forward. That's the idea with that first bonus. So that's a heck of a bonus that you're going to actually be able to sit down with the tribe and actually get your plan together and come up with a course in action, which is going to give you confidence to keep moving forward. Now, Paul, this is Paul. I'm gonna let Paul explain this to you, but yeah. I love that the tribe members are getting this. I just struck this deal with these guys, and it's an amazing tool that we've struck a deal with these guys, and tell them what we're going to give them. The tribe members are getting. I just think this is incredible.
In 3, 2, 1. Here we go. ASIN Inspector Pro. All right. Now this is no small shakes. All right. We are giving you this for free. All right. As part of the membership. All right. Like Rob said, we've spoken to the guys that run this, own this, and this is just for the Guerrillas members. Okay. Just for the Bootcamp members. We're giving you ASIN Inspector Pro. All right. And with that, there's a step-by-step training video. Right. There's more than 4 hours of training. This is huge. This is huge. Now let me go through what that entails, what you get once you actually download and I say get the ASIN Inspector Pro going. Some of the attributes that are available in this is to know your bestseller rank. We've already talked about that in the attributes. It's really key. Categories or nodes, as Amazon like to call them. We can actually target those. Sourcing products really quickly. Absolutely. It cuts tremendous amount of time using some of this software while you're trying to find products. Revenue estimator. Now what this is it allows you to work out your actual revenue. If you sort of sell it for X, you're purchasing it for Y, it will give you the numbers that you can make. Right? Instantly knowing ratings. All right, so product pricing as well. You can store and save your information in the cloud, so you can come back to it anywhere, anytime. If Rob's traveling around Thailand, he decides to go down to Hong Kong, no, I forgot my laptop, no worries, got my smartphone, I can still jump into my information, that's not a problem. You can actually spy on the competition. There's also a mobile scanning. This is really for sort of retail arbitrage, but it's available, it's there. You can filter any way you want. You can filter up, you can filter down, largest to smallest. You can sort of sort out number of reviews. There's a ton of information you can go through and filter in and out. And there's a brainstorm and discover. If you're really lost, if you just want to sit there and sort of try and come up with some new product ideas, they've got this little light bulb that you can press and they'll just come up with an idea for you. And then you can go and explore that a little bit more. You can import and export ASIN numbers. You can import and export hundreds, if not thousands of ASINs via upload CSV files. You can reverse engineer or reverse search. So if you find a product, okay, I like the look of that product, I know nothing about it, you can reverse engineer that product. And it also looks at related keywords. It's got a little keyword tool inside there. To say this is awesome is an understatement. But I'll say it, this is an awesome tool to get your hands on. And we're really proud that we've actually struck this deal, and you're going to get it. It's part of the deal. Okay, you've got it, and it's all yours. And like I say, we will walk you through that. If you don't have it, if you've got no idea what you're doing with it, not a problem. We've got your back. We've got you covered.
How about that? I love that. Now, here's another thing, and I love this portion because this is different than the business plan session. So what we're going to do is those of you that are here right now, you're going to get this bonus. And if you're listening to this in a replay, we'll try to get you in as many of these as you can, and maybe we'll have to hold some other ones. But to me, it's one of the most important things because we're going to solve the problems. That's what the software does. The strategy, the software, the IVT, plus the ASIN inspector. You can see how it's all coming together. Because what we're going to do is then with the ASIN inspector, we're going to hop online and literally we're going to hold these live product search sessions. You're going to actually get in there and we're going to look for product. We're going to go through, we're going to pull product up, we're going to evaluate, we're going to say why this is good, why this isn't good. Heck, I know this, Paul. I know multiple times Paul seems to be the magic guy, but like I would say at least 60% of the time we ever do a live product search, Paul comes out with a product that I think's viable. Matter of fact, I think I've launched one of them from a live search 2 years ago when we did that car back organizer.
Yeah.
Paul found them, which is a super competitive thing now. But Paul, he's just lucky. So he just finds these things in there. And so that doesn't mean necessarily you're going to find your product, but you're going to absolutely learn the process. Because if you don't learn how to find a product, everything else is built upon that. So you got to learn how to find a product. So we're going to get, if you get in right now, we're going to get you 4 free live product search sessions where we're going to search for products with you. Okay. I don't want to make you feel guilty already, but if you're ready to take some massive action in your life and do some really cool stuff and change your life for the better, if you want to join the tribe, it's okay. This is what we're going to do. We want you to get involved with the tribe. And so we've made this thing super, super affordable. Go ahead and show them, Paul. About that, $997. And that gets you in. And if you get on the call right now for $997, we're only going to let 25 people in. You got 100% money back guarantee. So if you become a tribe member and in 14 days, you don't think it's for you, you don't like it, man, we'll just give your money back. We don't want to try to push people through this. If you don't think it's for you, then we definitely want to value it. So if right now, this is something you want to get involved, you've heard it, and there are people out there right now, there's going to be people buying in the next 30 seconds because they get it, that for $1,000. So if I'm only able to help you make an extra $500 a month in your budget, that means in 2 months, you're completely even. Where else are you going to be able to get people to help you walk through and stand with you? There's a million courses, and that's why I don't like courses, because it's just, here it is, you're on your own, go figure it out and go do it. So for $997, lifetime access, that means, you know, down the future, you got a problem, you come back, you come to the Guerrillas, you're always able. And that's why people are here. So that's why people who've been doing this are going to answer your questions. I know people get on Skype calls together who, you know, don't have anything to do with us. They're just in the group and they've been in there and they try to help each other. So you're going to be part of a team. So you're going to get the roadmap. You're going to get your questions answered for only $997. Now, right below this right now, if you look down on your screen, there's a button. Go ahead and click it and get involved in the boot camp right now. There's only going to be 25 people. So, Paul, do we got anybody? I bet you there's some people filling out credit cards right now. Listen, we know this, that being part of a group makes you 10 times more likely to be successful. Now, I'll throw this out there. When you get into the checkout area, if you're thinking right now, well, listen, maybe I don't have all of that money right at this second. Okay, well, we want to make it available because I'm only going to open it up for these people. And probably on this call, if you're listening later, let's hope that there's still spaces available. If not, man, you send an email to me. If you get in there and you can't get in and you're excited and you really want to do it, go ahead and send me an email. But I have some payment options I put in there because the people expressed to me, hey, I couldn't come up with all that money right now. So I've got an option where you can pay 2 or you can pay 3. So you could pay 1 payment, 2 payments, or 3 payments. So there's no excuse. If you're ready to start your Amazon business, you came here, you wanted to learn how to buy a product, here's the opportunity for you to work with people. You've got the strategy. You know how I talk. You know my strategy. If that clicks a bell and rings a bell in you, and I know for a lot of you, it's ringing the bell right now. It's like someone turned the light switch on for you. Go ahead and turn the light switch on and join us in the boot camp.